Which camera are we looking at?
I don't know, but that's how
Heisman Trophy?
there, like that.
And you were like the least athletic person I know.
That's not true. I was the starting pitcher in high school. I played volleyball in college. I played football / soccer. I was a starter in basketball.
You played a little tennis.
I did play a little bit of tennis. Hopscotch was my favorite.
But when was the last time you did anything athletic?
I rode some motorcycle stuff recently.
I guess.
Does that not count?
I guess that counts. But that
Okay.
was a week ago.
It was a week ago. What's your point?
When was the last time you walked more than a mile?
I beat a guy who just got out of basic training in arm wrestling about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Talk about old man strength.
Moto Photo Adventures is on the road.
All right. Talk about strength. You must have needed some to get that bag,
did.
bag into that.
I did, because it was about that. Yours is a little bit bigger in the fluff. I call this the fluff sack, and this is the
storage
stuff sack.
bag. This
Fluff
is the
sack,
storage bag.
stuff sack.
Fluff sack, stuff sack.
So mine was a little bit smaller because of the model difference. And we'll get into that in just a moment.
Welcome back to Moto Photo Adventures, everybody. My name's Chris.
I'm Jason.
And we are here to tell you guys about the amazing Big Agnes Diamond Park sleep system.
Right. We got this from Moto Camp Nerd. Ben and Mary, check them out at motocampnerd.com, where they can give you anything that you like that packs into the size on a motorcycle.
And what's cool is they're motorcycle riders and campers themselves, so they know exactly what we need. So
but
cool.
they turned us onto the Big Agnes sleep system. It's not just a sleeping bag, it's a system.
I know, but
and I'm about to sweat to death. I am not going to need a 30-degree sleeping bag tonight.
It is Charleston, and it is June, end of June, middle
yes.
June. So it is warm, but yeah, listen, you guys, the Big Agnes Diamond Park sleeping bag is the most comfortable bag I have ever slept in. I mean, it's changed my world.
How many bags have you slept in?
No, it sounds like a personal question.
Well, it is. If you said it's the best, how many sleeping bags have you slept in?
I would say at least 6 in my life. I've owned at least 6 sleeping bags.
Well, then, okay, then you have worthiness of making
they have
judgment.
ranged from good brands to cheap brands, and everything in between.
Right.
But this is the most expensive one I've ever owned, but it will also be the last one I ever have to buy. It's unfreaking believable. I have never been as comfortable camping, sleeping in a tent as I am now with the new setup we have.
Right. Before we take these out of these stuff sacks, and be not deceived, this is a Sea to Summit stuff sack with the Big Agnes inside of it. But before we take these out of here, we want to discuss a few of the shopping details that you might consider before you actually purchase one of these.
And why we bought them.
And we have 2 different ones. Of course, they're made in the same fashion and just the same materials and the same thoughts and all of those things, but
it's 3 flavors: 0 degrees, 15 degrees, or 30
degrees.
Mine's the 15 degrees, and the only reason for that is I know from experience through all of our trips on the Trans-America Trail and stuff that I get colder at night than Jason and Steve do. So Jason has the 30 degree because it just suits him a little bit better. Before we go too far though, I do want to put this down. I just brought this to show you guys. This is a beautiful little mesh bag that they send with you so that you can leave your bag in it completely loose. As you know, storing your equipment in between trips is very, very important, and that helps the longevity. And these are 600 fill down sleeping bags.
Down, yes.
And down, if you leave it bunched up in a ball like that all the time, it's not going to have as good an R value eventually. It's going to kind of lose some of its effectiveness.
Right.
So they send you this really nice storage bag that you can just
fluff
sack as Jason calls it, but you can just hang that in your closet. I usually, when I come home from a trip, remove the bag completely from whatever storage container I've been carrying it in.
Fluff sack.
And I hang the whole bag unraveled in my closet. Yes.
In your closet, okay.
But with this new bag that they include with it, now I can just leave it in the bag, which is kind of cool.
Right.
But they do send a regular stuff sack. It's not really a stuff sack. It's just a normal bag that you would use when you're on a trip, right?
Yeah.
But it's,
Well, stuff sack meaning you can cinch it down, I'm suspecting, correct?
Yeah.
Well, that one you just have to muscle.
this one you just muscle it in, and that's your travel bag, they call it.
Yeah.
I personally do not use this travel bag. I've gotten rid of that, and I use the Big Agnes Pump House Ultra. Now, you'll be able to see a video somewhere, we'll link to it, but I did a review of the Pump House Ultra. I think it's a fantastic little product. It's slightly smaller than the pack-to-bag that comes with the Big Agnes, but it's not quite as small as this one. However, it has some other tricks up its sleeve, and that's why I use this to carry my bag in.
Is there any other things? Oh, one thing that I would like to mention, and it's one of the care components of having a down sleeping bag, is that you must be careful in the washing procedure. You do not want to put it in an agitating type of top-loading washing machine. It needs to be a front loader, and you need to use some down
Special
type
down
detergent and things like that.
Correct.
You also do not want to dry clean these,
No,
so they
no,
say.
no, yeah.
So take those things into consideration as well, because you are going to get hot and sweaty, and you are going to use these, and they are just like normal sheets of the bed at the house. You have to take care of those and wash those as well.
Now, when was the last time you had a conversation with a duck?
I thought about that way too long, didn't I?
The last time I talked to a duck,
Yes.
they told me, listen, we don't like getting our down feathers wet. And that's for good reason. Down just doesn't do well with wet. It's not going to keep you warm if it's wet. This down, however, that they use in here is treated. It's chemically treated to help resist water and to dry faster if it does get wet. So very, very cool that they did that. It also has a ripstop nylon exterior for durability to help protect the down. It's water resistant as well. It's super soft. It's unbelievably comfortable even on the outside.
It's like a quilt at your house.
It is.
Very much like that.
And in fact, that's a good word, Jason, because the interior baffles are also quilted together to help keep the down in their respective compartments.
Yes.
That's very important because I had an earlier down sleeping pad from a different manufacturer, and when you would do this, all the down would like go down to that side. So every time you set it up, you had to like shift the down around. It was really horrible, terrible design. But with this, the down stays where it's supposed to stay throughout the sleeping pad. And that is on the top 3/4, correct?
Yes, that is one of the unique features of the Big Agnes, is that the bottom portion of the sleeping bag does not have any down insulation. And the reason for that is, number one, the sleep system, but secondarily is if you're laying on the down, it's not going to be insulating because, as you know, insulation happens when there's air trapped and that air becomes heated and stays in the pocket. But if you're squished down on top of it, it's like laying on a piece of 2x4. It's not going to have any insulation. So why put any down there? So they made the sleep system anyway with an R-valued sleep pad in conjunction with the sleeping bag.
You said down there.
I did.
Jason's absolutely correct. It's totally been designed to use an air mattress. You cannot or you should not use this sleeping bag if you're not going to be using an air mattress. It's designed to work in conjunction. Now, do you know anybody our age that sleeps without an air pad?
Steve in the hammock.
Steve in the hammock, that's true, that's true.
I thought about that one a little too long.
This wouldn't work for Steve, although he doesn't put a pad in his hammock.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, all right, that would make sense, yeah.
I suppose.
But I don't know anybody that goes camping that doesn't use a good air pad or air mattress. And in fact, we did a review on our air mattresses. You can click
One
around
of those places.
One of those videos, you know, it's sitting there somewhere for you to watch. But
Cool, let's get in the tent.
let's get in the tent. Let's get in buggy out. Cut. Come on in, guys. Before we go any further, I will just briefly mention that this tent also came from our good friends at Moto Camp Nerd. This is the Big Agnes Copper Spur, and I absolutely freaking love this tent. Unbelievable. It saved me 2/3 the amount of space that my other tent took up. So we've got a video on that if you want to visit the channel, check that out. But I'm going to show you guys real quick. This is the way the Diamond Park system goes together. As Jason was telling you, the underside of this is going to fit around the air mattress, and I tell you, when you get in it after you've done this, it feels like you're laying on a fitted sheet at home. I have never slept in a sleep system like this where I felt like I was as comfortable as I am in my bed at home. It's unbelievable. But you've got these nice little mesh pockets, as you can see here. Very easy to just simply slip a corner over each of those. There's a couple of different ways that you can do it, depending on what size bag, what size air mattress you have. It'll be easier or lighter, but you basically just bring your hand through there and then pull your pad through. And once you put it flat, it stays flat. Get the last corner in over here, and then that lays flat like that. So now your sleeping pad and your sleeping bag are one and the same. The brilliant part of that is you never roll off your sleeping pad. How many times have you been in your tent, in your sleeping bag, middle of the night, you're turning over, you're getting restless, and all of a sudden you're laying half off and half on your sleeping pad, and the cold air from the ground is like freezing your right arm or something. It's terrible. But you never roll off your air mattress this way. It's so cool. Now check this out. Double zippers. The zippers all have their own little barns too. So all these zippers are completely free from drafty air. You've got a zipper on each side. How many sleeping bags have you had that had a zipper on both sides? So when you're in the middle of the night, you need to get up to, go do your business. You can come out your tent this way. You can go out the tent that way. If there's two of you in the tent, it gives you all kinds of options. The best part is you can completely unzip it apart. Undo the little strap here, and now, especially on a night like tonight where it's 95 degrees in the middle of Charleston, you just have a quilt. So you can completely get rid of this if you want, and then you just have a quilt that you can either lay half on, half off. So it really, really helps you with managing the temperature that you're sleeping in. If you're in a really, really cold environment, you've got the whole system. If you want, you can unzip it completely and just use this as a quilt. Now, another really cool feature about this particular bag, if you come down here to the bottom, these zippers are actually dual action zippers. So if you're in the middle of the night and your feet are getting warm, you can unzip the bottom and just let a little bit of air come in through your toe box. Super, super well thought out. I get hot down at my feet all the time while my upper body is fine. So now I can just add a little bit of ventilation to my feet. Really, really brilliant move. Let me show you up here at the top. Right here is a pillow barn. So you can put your pillow or a wadded up bag of clothes or a sweatshirt or whatever in here, and that's your pillow, and that stays in place because of the pillow barn. And you have this free range hood. So a lot of sleeping bags have this hood that's super tight and constrained around your head. It's there to help keep the cold air in, help keep the hot air from your body in and the cold air out. But they're usually too tight. You can't turn over, you can't roll around, you can't move. And for people like me who slip on their stomach or on their side, there's nowhere to put your arms. Your arms go outside the hood, and so now your hand's cold and your head is in this mummy that is nice and toasty, so you're not going to be comfortable. This way, with the free range hood, you can put your hands all the way up under here. You can put your hands all the way up underneath this free range hood, and now your arms are just as warm as your head. It's perfect. All right, some other really, really neat features about this particular bag I want to share with you. Remember I told you could pull this apart and make it a quilt. Look at this little nifty idea. They've got little pockets right here that you can put your hands in. If you want to go sit by the campfire, just like you do with a quilt at home, you can grab these little pockets. Doesn't that look cozy? You can sit by the campfire and you got your hands up in these little mitts. It's so cool. And also, when you're sleeping, what do you do with your phone? Well, they do have a mesh pocket built right in, so you can stick your phone or something important in here, and then you've got it all protected, safe and secure. The free range hood is also really cool. It's got a built-in cinch strap So you can use one hand. It's really well cleverly designed, but you can just pull that in. So if you do want it a little bit tighter than it comes naturally, that's a great feature. And they have all kinds of straps. So the exterior of the bag and the interior of the bag. There's a strap right there. The interior straps are great for if you're like me and you want to add a little extra layer of heat. You can put a liner inside your bag and they can attach to the straps so that the liners aren't going all over the place. And of course the exterior straps are fantastic so that when you get home, if you want to hang them up in your closet like I do, so they can air out, you've got a place to hang them with. Really, really clever design. Now, is it the perfect, absolute, beautiful sleeping system? I think it is. There are some negatives. You know, Jason always likes to throw in a few negatives. They're cut pretty big. The purpose, of course, is so that you have this nice, beautiful, roomy interior. You can turn over, you can roll around. You have plenty of room in the box to move around. It is a square cut, which is great. My personal favorite as opposed to a mummy bag. But the downside to that is, of course, that it takes a little bit longer to heat up. So when you're going to go get in your tent, if it's 30 degrees out, you may want to carry a Nalgene bottle with, you know, hot water in it, stick it in the bottom, because that'll help warm the interior air and get it all acclimated to your body temperature. Another downside to it being a larger cut like it is, it's a little bit bigger. You saw with our stuff sacks earlier, it's definitely not the ultra compact, ultra tight backpacking bag that you can see in some of the manufacturers' lineups. Big Agnes does have some smaller cut ones, but this particular one is not designed to be that. It's designed for ultra comfort, so it's not going to be as small or as light. Mine at 15 degree bag is 4 pounds 3 ounces. Jason's being a 30 degree bag, weighs a little bit less. It's 3 pounds 5 ounces. And of course the 0 degree bag is a little bit heavier, but none of those weights are going to be ultralight backpacker style bags. So this is not designed for that. But for a motorcyclist, perfect. It's light enough and squishes down enough that it's going to be a minute amount of your load, and you're not going to feel it. You're not going to care that it's 4 pounds instead of, you know, 3. So I particularly love the fact that it's leaning more towards comfort, so that when I get a good night's rest after a long day of riding, I can wake up rested, ready to go again. It's awesome. Ohm.
Ohm. Watts, volts, ohm. Well, Chris, that was a very thorough and knowledgeable description of the Big Agnes sleeping system.
Yeah.
You went over all of the little bits.
Diamond Park.
Yeah.
Sleeping bag. And the Big Agnes, I didn't mention, mine's a Repeat SL pad.
It works with any of the Big Agnes stuff, and it works with
any pad.
Any pads that are within a certain, you know,
25 to 30 inch pad.
I have the 30 and it works.
Yep.
What was your favorite feature?
I love the flex pad system.
You know what my favorite feature is?
What's that?
It's the free range hood. All I can picture is little hoods running around the farm getting ready to be killed and fried.
Are they organic?
They're free range hoods.
They're free range organic
hoods. That's right. That's right. Well, thank you again to Ben and Mary of Moto Camp Nerd for helping us get outfitted with all of your great suggestions. We know that we're going to love it. He's had 6 sleeping bags, and this is his most favorite. I've had at least 3, including a military one, and I know that one wasn't my favorite. So this one's going to make it above that one for sure. I've only used it a couple of times, but I'm pretty satisfied with what I've found it at thus far.
We spent a good long weekend at Horizons Unlimited. My shirt's Horizons Unlimited.
There it is.
And loved them. Slept so well, even with Steve snoring in the bunk next door.
There he goes. So tune in next time. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. Tell us what kind of sleep system you use. Share it to your friends, and you know, see you on the next one.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. Ugh. We didn't mention price.
I'll put it up there on the screen.
All right. They're not cheap, but they're worth it.
Did you say that to the camera?
Yep.
Okay.